The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning to you here at 5 a.m. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher.
We begin this morning with news making headlines around the state. A celebration for the Sikh community turned into a shootout at a temple in Sacramento yesterday after a fight broke out in the crowd of thousands. Orko Manna reports.
Thousands of people march in the streets around the Sacramento Sikh Society Temple to celebrate Nagar Kirtan. It's a religious event for the Sikh community, and this is the first time a parade has happened in Sacramento.
The parade is just one opportunity for us to walk together and pray together and show our solidarity.
But the fun and festive celebrations were interrupted by a shooting.
It was very chaotic.
Manjeet Kara and her son were at the temple when everything unfolded.
In a church where you're supposed to come and be at peace and serenity, and this kind of violence is going on, it's disgusting.
The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office tells KCRA3 three men were involved at a fight on the temple grounds. Two of them fired their weapons. Both men who were shot were taken to the hospital in critical condition but are expected to be okay.
We want everybody to come in here, enjoy themselves, be able to celebrate, be able to worship without the worry of something like this happening.
The Sheriff's Office says it appears the three men involved in the fight and eventual shooting all knew each other, which makes what happened even more upsetting for temple leaders.
The committee is humble and sorry to all the people who showed up this happened.
They're disheartened something like this unfolded at their house of worship, especially during a major event. They vow to prevent acts of violence in the future and are keeping their heads held high.
It hurts, but we'll be back. We're here. We're not going anywhere. Two bad people not going to ruin what we have going for us and the community.
That's everyone's goal as they try to move forward.
I hope it does not create any stain on the legacy of this Gurudwara church.
Tomorrow, one of the most highly anticipated trials in Kern County in recent years is expected to begin. A jury was chosen last week for the trial of Trezell and Jacqueline West, the California City couple charged with the murder after two of their adopted sons, Orrin and Orson West, went missing more than 2 years ago. The panel of 7 women and 5 men was finalized on Friday. Opening statements are set for tomorrow morning. The jury will be tasked with deciding whether the Wests killed the boys, who were ages 3 and 4 at the time of their disappearance back in 2020. Their bodies have never been found. Meantime, former Bakersfield City Council candidate Raj Gill was in court Friday afternoon. He pleaded not guilty to 7 counts of solicitation to commit a criminal act. Gill was arrested earlier this month. He's accused of hiring hitmen and offering them money to shoot people he was involved in a dispute with and to set fire to a Sikh temple. Right now, Gill's out on $60,000 bail, and he's due back in court in May.
Bakersfield College hosted its Sterling Silver Gala Saturday evening, the event made to honor the college's most faithful supporters. 17's Tammy Melchuk was the MC for the event. This is the college's 15th annual Sterling Silver Gala. The event featured a fancy meal prepared by college chefs and their culinary students. Among the honorees was the Valley Strong Credit Union. The company went home with the Corporate Philanthropist Award.
Actor Jonathan Majors was arrested yesterday on charges of assault, but his team denies any wrongdoing. Police say it all started when the actor from the Marvel series got into an argument with his girlfriend who believed he was texting another woman. The couple was in a taxi returning home from a bar in Brooklyn. She told police that Majors got mad, grabbed her hand, slapped her, and put his hands around her neck. Police say the actor was arrested but is no longer in custody. A representative for Majors says they look forward to clearing the actor's name.
5:11 is your time now, and the New York grand jury investigating an alleged hush money payment by former President Trump is set to return to work today. Trump continues to claim the case is just a witch hunt against him. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington this morning with more.
As a grand jury weighs whether former President Trump should be charged in connection to an alleged hush money payment to an adult film star, he bristled at questions about the investigation.
I believe that if anything ever happened with a case that's a fake case.
The 2024 Republican presidential candidate also aired his grievances during his first major campaign rally in Waco, Texas, Saturday.
This is really prosecutorial misconduct. That's what it's called. The innocence of people makes no difference whatsoever to these radical left maniacs.
Trump denies any wrongdoing, his legal team standing firmly behind him.
Because it's a case that shouldn't be brought and wouldn't be brought for anyone other than Donald Trump.
Experts say cases like this can be difficult to prosecute.
It's a provable case. You have challenges, like in any case.
District Attorney Alvin Bragg shows no signs of backing down, despite threats against him and his office.
It's actually a part of a larger piece, which is an attack on our democracy.
The rhetoric is absolutely out of control on both sides, on all sides.
The former president has been escalating his rhetoric against Bragg as the DA weighs possible criminal charges. In a now deleted social media post, the former president posted a picture of himself wielding a baseball bat next to a picture of Bragg. Mr. Trump's legal team tried to distance itself from the violent rhetoric, calling it ill-advised. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
We're experiencing a record-breaking winter with precipitation levels not seen in some 40 years. But at the first session of Kern's Water Summit in Bakersfield, attendees were offered a reality check. That's because after more than 20 years of drought, one extremely wet water year won't be enough to wash away the daunting challenges facing water managers, growers, and even urban planners here in the Central Valley. 17's Jim Scott reports.
Thank you for your investment in water, life's most essential element.
Bakersfield Mayor Kern kicking off the 2023 Water Summit at Mechanics Bank Convention Center before a crowd of some 200 attendees. After 22 years of drought, snowpack levels in California's Sierra Nevada mountains are at record highs, and storage reservoirs are filling up. Two reasons for cautious optimism.
The key issue is going to be just how and when it comes down. If we have a big warm rain on snow event, there's going to be a lot of flooding, and we're going to lose a lot of water that we otherwise could put to beneficial use.
But Mother Nature isn't the only force at work here. Groundwater basins in the valley are severely depleted. California's Sustainable Groundwater Management Act, or SGMA, requires that water districts and growers stop taking more water out of the ground than they can put back in, and to balance groundwater accounts by 2040. That's bad news for growers in the so-called whitelands who rely solely on groundwater with no surface water from the state or federal water projects. Whiteland values in Kern are plummeting by some $450 million since the inception of SGMA in 2014. This according to Mike Ming of Alliance Ag Services.
And you can see the top was at $15,000 an acre for SGMA whitelands. We're currently at $4,000 an acre. So basically a 73% loss of value.
Ming says SGMA has forced investors and private equity firms to the sidelines with no plans to invest in ag land for the next 8 to 16 months.
They think the market is going to correct, and until it corrects, they're basically out of the market.
Also part of the day's reality check, the policy disconnect in Sacramento between water scarcity and state initiatives to ramp up housing construction to keep pace with population growth in California.
And it is a very difficult process because of the linkage between housing and water. And the state has no interest in whether we have enough water for these houses.
County Planning Director Lorelei Oviatt says the state is now telling Kern to build some 57,000 single and multi-family units over the next 8 years.
And the number one issue that we have is, are we going to have enough water for those houses? Once again, as a reminder, the state of California does not care. If we don't have a housing element done by December, all of our building permits stop, and that is not an exaggeration.
Carbon capture, the pulling of CO2 from the atmosphere and industrial sources, is seen as an essential technology for combating climate change. And 17 News has learned the Biden administration has tapped the Kern County Planning Director to help develop a natural carbon capture and storage industry. Lorelei Oviatt will sit on one of the two task forces to provide recommendations to the federal government on efficient permitting of carbon capture and storage projects across the U.S. County Administrative Officer Ryan Alsop applauded the appointment, saying Oviatt's strategic vision has made her a preeminent authority on energy policy.
At a recent city auction, private owners purchased 16 tax-defaulted properties designated as chronic nuisances in Bakersfield. According to Councilmember Andre Gonzalez, one of the buildings on California Avenue had been a problem for over 2 years. And a man even climbed out of the building window when 17's Michaela Armstrong was on site. Gonzalez told 17 News he hopes that the new owners will work with the city to help clean up these properties.
Well, runners from across the nation hit the streets of Bakersfield yesterday for the return of the 6th annual Bakersfield Marathon.
3, 2, 1.
The event included the full marathon, a half, a 10K, and a 6K. Nearly 2,000 runners gathered early yesterday morning for the races, and many of you might have seen the roads completely shut down to make way for their racers as they made their way from the Kern County Museum through the downtown area and then east towards Bakersfield College and the Panorama Bluffs. 17 News was there out at the event, handing out water to runners at mile marker 17 throughout the morning, and it looked like everyone was having a great time.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.